somebody running down the field. I don't know who, but somebody running down the middle of the field will expose that defense, and you will grind them out. You'll grind them out.
Gregory,
I'm extremely excited about the Cowboys as a Falcons fan, but I cannot wait to see you guys in the A and beat your ass.
Stop it, Stop it, Dave. Stop it.
Stop it. So bad.
I can't wait to see that.
Law and Voch. Just one more thing. I respect your team for what it is, and I love your players. And you got to understand that this is like a official, unofficial rivalry with Dallas and Atlanta that I want to play you guys and play at a top level and beat you, because I feel that that's like you are one of the top teams in this league. You are.
And last year was a sham. Like last year we wasn't at our best.
It's
we won, and it was like
it's terrible.
You came on the show, you came on the show, right? You talked.
Yeah.
You came on the show. You didn't fold up. So although we lost, and you came on the show and you said, "Hey, you didn't rub it in though. You're a good guy."
let me say this though. Let me say this real fast.
Real quickly. You didn't have the full offensive line there. Had the full offensive line there, it would have been a completely different story.
We had Zeke.
And Adrian Claiborne, I'm going to tell you right now, is not going to be effective with wherever he went. I think it was the Patriots. He went to the Patriots. He's not going to be effective there.
We had Zeke.
And Dontari Poe leaving our system, going to the Panthers, not going to be effective there either.
So
there's exposure that you can use on those players.
In the chat box, Gregory Castillo, his wife is supposed to be sending me an Ohio State hat, but he said, stack the box and see if Dak can convert 3rd and 5 or whatever he said. And
do it. Try him.
We do it, but we've done it. We always do that. That's what we do. Dak is best at manipulating coverages, dog. Like people underrate Dak, but it like. I always take it back to 2016, man, when Dez got hurt and we had to throw within the offense. Dak was as efficient as he's ever been. And even if you stack the box, we run in the stack boxes all the time. We just block that shit. We just block it up front. Go ahead, Law.
You remember the Arizona Cardinals game, right?
100%. And
one can argue, Adrian, what's his guy name that's out there on the edge, that Patrick Peterson, right?
Yeah.
Is he a trash of a cornerback?
No, sir.
Is the Honey Badger trash of a free safety?
No, sir.
Did you see that game? Did they put 8 and 9 men fronts?
100%.
Did Ezekiel Elliott show up and show out?
Absolutely.
Did Dak Prescott was able to get the ball to number 19? Mm-hmm. People fail to realize. I know a lot of people gonna say this Cardinals were trash, but at that time, everybody was saying like, okay, Cowboys gonna have to really figure out how to beat this 8 and 9 man front. Mm-hmm. And you saw, oh boy, you did a film session on him, Chandler Jones. He was able to put some ass whooping on somebody, right?
Tyrus Smith, he showed he whooped Tyrus Smith. Look, man, people think
when we win, it's like, oh, it was the horrible team,
Let them fly. People think that football is like Dungeons and Dragons or something. Like there's a point, and if 13 points beat 8 points, it's not like that. Any man can beat any man. I've seen Cole Beasley beat up on Cardinals. Look, man, we smoked the damn Seahawks corners, man. And zone coverage is all about finding the open zone. Every zone got a weakness, and Dak knows how to find that. When it comes to man coverage, that's about reads. So look, man, let me tell y'all something. Talk about the smash concept. That's the easy concept I always go to teach people. We got a curl down low and a corner up high. We reading the outside guy. You either gonna play back on the corner or you gonna play up on the curl. I don't care how good your damn coverage ability is. If you don't know it's coming, you ain't gonna be able to cover that damn corner to the outside. If you do, we'll just hit the hitch. That's how reads work. That's how offense works. So sure, you may have Patrick Peterson over on the other side of the football, but if he don't know what routes come, as long as Dak throws with anticipation, which we've seen him be able to do, we can convert passes. And like I said, Dak only gonna throw the ball 22 times a game. Stop the run. Talk about that. Stop the run.
Mm-hmm. Let me ask you this though: how creative Jimmy Johnson offense was? I'll sit and wait.
You talking about the 90s?
I know it's the 90s. I know it's dated, but yeah, how creative was it?
Give the ball to Emmett. Check Irvin. If Irvin not there, give it to Novacek. What are we doing?
They're gonna say, man, Lauder turned over to a homerism for Jason Garrett.
So the chat right now is Falcon bashing. So can we go ahead and get on to the next Can we get on to the next division so I can lay some truth? That's what I do on my show.
This is my show, Dan. This is my show, Dan. This is my show, and we talking about the Cowboys right now. Law, tell us who rank the East for us, Law, and then we'll move on to the South. Go ahead, brother.
Well, I mean, in order to be the best, you have to beat the best. And I'm not going to be one of the guys who's going to go out there and say, okay, the Cowboys is number one in the NFC East right now at this point in time. We must earn that. We must earn that grind. So far right now, I have the Filthy as number one until proven otherwise. So I got Filthy number one. Number two, I have my Dallas Cowboys. Number three, believe it or not, I have the Washington Redskins. And then I have the Giants is last place in that division. As it relates to what the Redskins did on the offseason, one can argue. Somebody can say this, that Darius probably be a better running back than Fournette. Yeah, I said it. So what? Sue me. This guy, he is explosive, and they actually got a good offensive line coach that can coach those guys up and put everybody in the right places too. So I'm not sleeping on the Redskins, guys. And Alex Smith, he do not, and I'm telling you, he do not throw the game away. There's going to be something where he's not going to give gifts away like Kirk Cousins used to do. So don't sleep on them Redskins.
Loyal Bird, I wish I was high. I'm not even going to joke with you. I wish I was high.
You said somebody high. Oh, man.
Let's get to the NFC South. Let me just open it this way.
All right, Dan.
Open it up, man.
Let me open it this way.
So listen, y'all. In case y'all like tuning in late, or because Law kind of tuned in late. So we've done 7 divisions. This is going to be the 8th one. Then we're going to kind of go back and sort of project who's going to make the playoffs and who's going to go to Super Bowl, who's going to win it. So go ahead, Dan. Give us your last go.
So, as a Falcons fan and on my show, I don't preach any bias. I actually am very critical of my Falcons, and I'm critical of the offensive coordinator, defensive coordinator, my head coach's decisions, my players' consistency in what they do. And I do fear teams like the Panthers when they're consistent, teams like the Saints now that they have a youth movement going on. And I am also one of those guys that I will – and this is just going with Tampa Bay right now. Tampa Bay is just not a good team. They have a lot of great players on it, but their philosophy is not good. And their quarterback is trash. I'm going to be completely honest. Jameis Winston is trash. Oh. He shouldn't even be playing in the NFL right now. He is a disappointment and a failure for all quarterback standards going on right now, getting in trouble so many times off of the field. And I don't understand why he hasn't been sat down or benched or been talked to by coaches, organization members, other players, telling him, why in the hell are you getting yourself into these particular predicaments? That being stated, I don't think the Falcons are going to win this division this year. I think they'll come out with a wild card this year. I think it's 10-6 or 11-5 for the Atlanta Falcons this year. Second place. They have a third place schedule. It's pretty easy towards the middle of the season, then towards the beginning and the ends of the season, it's actually really, really tough. Atlanta's problem was not Steve Sarkisian. I'm quickly state this because I don't want to talk all night about the Atlanta Falcons, but Steve Sarkisian did have plays that he ran that were effective. It was the players' consistency in running those plays and doing what needs to be done, running their routes, making the blocks, and mentally being there that caused the Atlanta Falcons to look like a team that was desperately in need of a new offensive coordinator, albeit a team that desperately needed to be with a new offensive coordinator that still went 11-5 and then still went to the second round of the playoffs. So I will put a little asterisk on that and say that apparently Steve Sarkisian was good enough with the players that we have on this team to be able to get to the second round of the playoffs. Bite me if you think that I'm wrong, but that's just the facts. The facts remain that this team still made it to the playoffs, beat the number one offense in the league, and we're about a touchdown away from beating the Eagles. And I'm sorry, Cowboys fans, that we didn't do the job. Sorry.
Right.
But that's player consistency. I mean, look at the Saints game that we played, the Atlanta Falcons and the Saints, where there was a butt interception off of Marcus Lattimore. What is that? That's called player inconsistency. Mohamed Sanu, accounting for almost half of the interceptions that Matt Ryan had last year, batting the ball up like a volleyball. What's that? What is that? That wouldn't happen on any other regular play. Why are you doing that this particular year? And that's just called not being consistent with what you're doing. That has nothing to do with the routes or the combinations or the plays drawn up. That has everything to do with the players on the field not performing and what they need to do.
Mm-hmm.
Defensively, that team didn't have the depth. I think that this year, the team definitely doesn't have the depth. We got a couple of Cowboys players.
Trash.
And a really interesting rotation. We've got a really interesting rotation that I think that is going to be really, really potent. Linebackers are pretty good, and the corners. How did we get Isaiah Oliver? I don't even understand how that happened.
My God, Isaiah
how did that happen? Like, I don't even understand that.
In the second,
and then on offense, you have a guy like Steve Sarkisian with a wide receiver like Calvin Ridley, who he mentored, he trained with, he understood how this player is supposed to play. And I draw back to Kyle Shanahan and how he went out during his second season with Atlanta and was able to bring in guys that he wanted on his offense that were going to work for his system. Now Sark is doing that.
Well, Dan, where's your weakness on your team, Dan?
I'll point that out immediately. We have no tight ends. We have no tight ends. And Austin Hooper has been a complete disappointment as far as I'm concerned.
But is that a deal breaker, though?
Are you guys going to line up more in the 4 and the 3 wide out setup anyway? More of a team personnel?
I think you're going to see a lot of 11 and 22 personnel from this team, or excuse me, 21 personnel from this team. You're going to see a lot of single tight end or double tight end stacks where we're actually going out at the wide receivers or throwing at the running backs. That's where the ball is going to be going.
Aren't you kind of like, damn, the Saints took a page out of our book. They got 2 good running backs, and now we already had the 2 good running backs. Are you thinking that the Saints are really kind of mirroring what you guys did in order to be successful last year?
I don't think they're mirroring us. I think they're mirroring the trend that's happening in the league. The trend in the league was a pass happy offense with a lot of really fast speedsters that were relying on left tackles to protect and then pass to running backs. And that was opened up by the Patriots, the Steelers, the Seahawks were the ones that made defenses important. The Ravens with their defenses and how they ran their offenses, and the Eagles and what they did last year and how they ran with, limited cap space. Their running backs and the tight ends were super important, and you didn't have to have mega offense from the wide receivers. And they were very enthralled with having a complete offensive line and a complete defensive line and having corners that can be moved around, but elite safeties, or if you want to call them elite. That is the trend of the NFL, and that's exactly what the Saints did. They said, okay, enough is enough. Stop going to free agency. Go to the draft, just like the Seahawks did, just with the Falcons, just like the Patriots, just like these teams that have been successful. Let's go draft defense. Make this. We already have the offense to be able to do this. Let's go get a defense that's worth our time, and let's go pick up a couple guys that we know that are successful, not overpay for them, and be a team that can mimic what the Seahawks did and what the Falcons are trending with, and copy what all of these teams, the good teams, the teams that have been doing this kind of stuff, study them, copy, example, and play. And that's why the Saints are so talented, why they were so good last year. Depth is a concern with New Orleans, but I still have them number 1. I have Atlanta number 2. I think that second-year Sarkisian is going to be just as good, if not better.
Hold on. What makes your team better than the Panthers?
I think my team is better than the Panthers because we have a better offensive line. I think that my team is better because we have wide receiving weapons. I think that my team is better because we have more depth at defense. But that's not to say that the Falcons will sweep the Panthers. By God, we will not. We will not sweep the New Orleans Saints. But I'm more inclined to say that we will sweep Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay right now has a lot of issues, and I feel for them because I live here in Orlando, and we're only an hour away from Tampa. I have to hear the concerns. I have to hear their problems. I have fans who are friends who are fans of Tampa, and I have to hear those concerns all the time. I have to hear how Tampa if they would just get the right coach with the right mentality and stop trying to siphon from other teams and get their sources from other places, then they would be a good team. They would be a good team. They would contend. They would be like those 2000, 2001 Tampa Bay Buccaneers that were so successful. But they're not. They took Mike Smith and they promoted him to defensive coordinator and play a very bend, don't break defense, which does not work in this current NFL trend. And they have an offensive coordinator, a head coach who was Atlanta's offensive coordinator who really wasted Matt Ryan's opportunity and doesn't look like he's doing anything with Jameis Winston or this particular offense as well. Yes, you have Mike. What's his name? I can't remember his name. It's a wide receiver, but
Evans.
Yes, you have Mike Evans, and he's an amazing talent. But what else do you have on that team?
But let me ask you this though. We all know that football is all about momentum. Now, all of a sudden, they do have the weapons. Somebody can argue. Nobody can argue that they don't have the weapons. They do have the weapons. So if it's all about momentum, nobody saw the Rams coming when they came, the greatest show on turf. So, maybe when everybody gelled the second year together, who's their backup quarterback?
Sean Mannion from Oregon State.
Is that the guy that played for the Rams, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I saw him. He methodically moved the ball. I'm not saying that he's the next best thing since sliced bread, but there's something about this guy. If he can come out and he start hitting these guys down the seam, because they got one hell of a. You can't sleep on the tight end. They got one hell of a tight end. They got a guy that can vertically take the ball over the top. The little small guy, I forgot his name. He used to play for Filthy. And they also have, like you said, Mike Evans. They got pieces around them. If they play smart, controlled football, they can hit. And then they got the last play schedule. They can hit a lot of people by surprise.
My bad. You was talking about Tampa Bay. Fitzpatrick is actually their backup guy. Ryan Fitzpatrick.
Oh, yeah, they doomed that. Oh.
I'll put it down to this one point. Coaching. Who is coaching the teams? Who's leading them? Who's putting them at the right places? Who's
better go get
calling timeouts and game managing and making their players play in the right places to make them succeed? I believe in Sean Payton. I believe in what is that, Ron Rivera in Carolina, and I believe in Dan Quinn. I do not believe in Derek Carter. I do not believe in Mike Smith. I do not believe in the group that they have trying to teach those kids, because if there's anything that I've learned from this entire time is that both Derek Carter and Mike Smith, as offensive coordinators and head coaches for Atlanta, did not like to develop talent, and I see that exact same thing happening in Tampa. It's doomed for them, and it's spelling them in the wrong direction. I'm not hating on Tampa, nor am I hating on Carolina. I'm just saying that if you're not developing your talent, you're going to run into a rut, and you're going to be stuck there until you draft well and you get those current coaches that are not developing talent out.
So I just drew up my playoff scenarios for both sides, for both conferences or whatever, but I'm going to let Keon on the phone because he about to hit you upside the head with some of this Buccaneer talk. Then I'm going to talk this playoff. Go ahead, Keon. Get him, Keon. Get him.
Look, I will not try to kid you that Dirk Cutter and Mike Smith are on their last legs. They need to go now. But I think after we go 0-3, I think that those changes will have to be made, and they will be made by the Glazer family at that point. Ryan Fitzpatrick, not a great quarterback. He is smart, though. But I think that there's more hope than what you have, because what you put out there, because, yes, we have O.J. Howard and Cameron Brate, both very productive tight ends. We have Mike Evans and Chris Godwin out wide. That not to mention Deshaun Jackson. Oh my God. Yes, the coaching is the biggest issue. And what's going to take is our guys losing a few games. I think we're going to go like 7-9 this year. But
I agree with that. I think that 7-9 is a good slate for the Bucs. I don't think they don't have the talent. I just think that their coaching is awful, and that they're still sticking around with Jameis Winston, and that's like you put too many eggs in one basket, fam.
A lot of pride, man.
Because he's been trending up every year since he's come into the league. Now he hasn't had explosiveness. He hasn't had the great decision making, but I would put that on Dirk Cutter and Todd Monken, and also the defense hasn't been.
Keon, did you hear that breath? Let me stop you right. Did you hear that breath you just breathed, Keon? Come on, man.
Yes,
You're
sir.
fourth. You're fourth, Keon. You can't, and Keon, you know you my homie, dog, but you can't give up 3 losses in this division, bro. You can't do it. You can't do it. Not with Carolina Saints in Atlanta, dog. You can't do it. You're fourth.
I honestly think that we could be third, but
you're fourth.
That's look. I don't know about.
Break it down, Keon. Who you gonna beat then? Who you gonna beat to get to that spot?
Keon about to get Ed Oliver, man.
Carolina. Come on. Carolina. I think that they're the one team that we can pick off because the issue with the Carolina game that we had last year against them, the last one we had, was Chris Baker. In a 4th down play, he jumped off sides. That was to help Chris Baker, but that was bad luck. We had that game if not for that last play. We can beat the Panthers. I think we can take the Panthers, but other than yes, I know. You're like 4.
All right, Keon.
Okay, that's 1 and 15. That's 1 and 15.
Let me say this way then. Let me say this way. Go ahead.
Okay, that's 1 and 15.
I'm going to say, go ahead.
No, I said go ahead. Go ahead, Law.
I'm going to ask you this, Keon. Give me the Panthers' strength and give me your weakness, and let's see give me your team weakness, and let's see where that all match up at.
4th.
All right. You want me to start with the offense or defense?
Quickly though, Keon, because it's been 2 hours.
Oh, sorry about that. Well, I think
cut this up.
You are in the hot seat.
We ain't cutting nothing. We're gonna run it like this. We're gonna put 20 ads on this thing too. We're gonna get paid. Come on, Keon.
Yeah, offensively, we have an issue with our right guard spot and the longevity of our right tackle in DeMar Dotson. It's going to be an issue for us to run the ball, I think. But we do have a slasher in Ronald Jones II. I think that can be mitigated. They do have
I really
a strong
liked their
front
draft.
seven.
I gotta say, Ronald Jones II and Vita Vea were fun.
Yeah, sure, Dan. I totally, but they're 4th. Keon, give me 10 more seconds before I hang up on you, bro. We need to move on.
All right. Well, you can just mute me then. I'm
right.
Listen, bro. If you don't want to hear anything, but thank you for letting me talk.
Hey, man, thank you for coming in here, Keon. I really appreciate it, buddy. You put some good points in.
Yeah, Keon, you did really well, Keon, but you're 4th. Thank you, bro. About to go ahead and mute you. And I just did my playoff bracket. The Packers didn't make the playoffs. I'll explain why after this call. Cardinal fan, what up?
Yo, Voch, go back to talking about the Cowboys. You never talk about the Cowboys. Come on, you got sidetracked.
You being funny, man. I think we talked about the Cowboys for a good long time. And to be fair, I'm about to get back into the Cowboys a little bit too, though. But if you want to hear more Cowboys talk, go to Law Nation's channel. Subscribe to him. I'm on his channel very often, fussing with people.
Will do. Have a good one.
Okay, cool.
Yoga Flame.
Cardinal fan, homie, dog. He just come in, drop money, tell other people drop money, and leave. I love Cardinal fan. So look,
boy, those were the glory days when we had the Cardinals twice a year. Oh man,
the damn Central,
boy.
The damn Central, boy.
Like a whooping boy.
Damn.
look at Dan. This is like you guys got the Buccaneer twice a year, man.
Yeah. Be happy,
That's
man.
Good boy.
You know. And this is really funny is that I actually hate playing the Bucs. I despise playing the Bucs. I wish San Francisco was back in our division again. I wish that it was the Rams and San Francisco and Atlanta and New Orleans. I wish that was the division that we were playing in again. That is the division that would have been like the talk of the town
No. Let me tell you what a division would be a talk of the town. You move the Panthers out and just move the Cowboys there in your division. Boy, I can imagine going down to Tampa Bay Buccaneers playing them twice a year, and then going down there to Big Easy, then going down there to Atlanta playing them twice a year. Boy, that would be a cold division, man. And Cowboys would dominate the South.
Talk to them.
Damn, I think we'd have a cold split in most of our years. Cowboys Falcons. I think Cowboys Saints would be nasty.
Every year.
That would be nasty. People beating up. You talk about Southern rivalries, like Southern hate. That's Southern hate. That's Southern hate right there. But that's what the whole South is bred on, is Southern hate. So that's all it is.
so y'all want to hear AFC first or NFC?
Let's go AFC first because we're on here.
My two bye week teams are the Jacksonville Jaguars and the New England Patriots. Cool, right? My other division winners in which they've made the wild card is the Baltimore Ravens and the LA Chargers. Baltimore Ravens would be playing the Kansas City Chiefs. The LA Chargers would be playing the Pittsburgh Steelers. And so, look, Law made that face when I said the LA Chargers. Let me find my paper so I can go back to my life.
No. I'm more making that face for the Ravens, though.
Okay, well, see, the reason we said that, I think
fix my face. Help my face out, man.
I think the Bengals will be fourth. The Browns will be third, just better than just. So what I think about the Pittsburgh Steelers is I think the Le'Veon situation is going to be really toxic, man. They didn't pay him. I think he's going to play for the franchise tag. He's going to play to not get hurt, because if Le'Veon gets hurt, he lose all his leverage. I don't think he's already planning on his days after Pittsburgh. You see what I'm saying? And if you ain't got a fully invested Le'Veon, that may be bad business. You see what I'm saying?
The Big Ben, though. Big Ben Roethlisberger. That's all you need.
Sure. Ben and Le'Veon are probably out by the end of the year, though.
Ben been talking about retiring next year. And look, man, if it was that easy, if it was Ben save us all, then Le'Veon wouldn't even get franchise tag. They want to keep Le'Veon. They just don't want to pay him. And I'm looking at it like, you're not paying a running back. You paying your identity, fam. You paying to keep your offense the best offense in the league. And they want to take that chance. So I got Steelers second. I got Ravens first. I think the Ravens defense is really gonna put them over the edge. They're gonna. So
when do Joe Flacco get hurt and they put the robot machine in the other young guy?
I don't think I don't think Joe gets hurt. I do think Joe will have
bench.
He will have a few consecutive 3-and-outs, and they're gonna scream. They're gonna scream for Lamar Jackson. But I do think they've upgraded the tight end and the wide receiver position. They've been trying to upgrade receiver for years. They finally got it done this year. I just think the Baltimore Ravens will barely make it better than Pittsburgh, and the Ravens ain't trash, man. Ravens ain't trash. It's just that Pittsburgh is so good that we just tend to think that the Ravens aren't as good as they normally are.
Who do you fear on the Ravens defense?
Who do I fear? They got one of the nastiest boxes in the league, Law. As far as stopping the run, pass rushing, Judon, the kid from Houston, Camelot Correa. What's the kid? Bowser, Tyus Bowser from Houston. T Sizzle. People say T Sizzle old, but he still got 13, 14 sacks last year. So, let's not sleep on that. CJ Mosley that's a nasty little box. Then they still got Jimmy Smith on the outside. Brandon Carr is out there. They got my boy Alabama, Humphrey, cornerback from Alabama. So they got a solid group of cornerbacks out there too. So
why are you putting the Cincinnati Bengals on the sliding board?
Because they trash, and they haven't adequately addressed their offensive line, in my opinion.
How do you address Voch after he says something's trash? You just like, yeah. It's trash.
Yeah, I believe you, but okay. So okay.
What am I supposed to do? Sit here for 20 minutes and be like, no, they're not trash. Voch just
they got the red. They got the red pistol, the red rifle.
Fair enough. Let me.
Red Ryder BB gun.
Red Ryder BB gun.
Let me elaborate.
Hey, don't sleep on my running back on that team, though. I love Joe Mixon.
I love Joe Mixon, but they completely tore down the offensive line. They drafted Billy Price. I like Billy Price, but the rest of it's trash.
There you go.
The rest of Law. It takes 5.
Let's move on.
All right, go ahead,
He
man.
asked me.
I got a wife that's probably gonna stab me with that knife that I showed on here.
Tell her you making money. You know how many subs you got tonight? So
I don't know. Probably none.
You got some. So we got Chargers versus Steelers. I got the Chargers beating the Steelers. Then I got the Ravens and the Chiefs. I got the Ravens beating the Chiefs. The Jags beating the Ravens. Pats beating the Chargers. Then in the championship game, I got Jags versus Pats. I got Jags going to the Super Bowl there. In the NFC, because defense matters. In the NFC, I have the Saints and the Vikings having bye weeks. The Saints just talented, man. Like I ain't really touch on it yet, but as long as everything is in line for the Saints, they'll be fine. They'll be a top tier team. So the Cowboys versus the Falcons in the wild card, and the Rams versus the Eagles in the wild card. I got the Rams smoking the Eagles, and I got the Cowboys smoking the Falcons. Then in the next round, we got Saints versus Cowboys, which will be lit. Cowboys win that. Vikings versus Rams. Vikings win that one, and the Cowboys beating the Vikings to go to the Super Bowl and beat the Jaguars. 24-17.
Who's Super Bowl MVP? Randy Gregory.
Zeke Elliott. You already know.
Thank you, Rex Smith, for subbing to unintentional grounding. Stay grounded, man. Rise up. Good to see you.
Already know. So go ahead, man.
All right, so I'm just gonna put it down this way. My top 3 to go to the Super Bowl this year are Falcons, Eagles, Cowboys. Those are the top 3. I'm not even doing this whole playoff prediction thing, but I have those 3 teams. Actually, I'll add the Vikings into that too. Those 4 teams are going to be the ones that could potentially go to the Super Bowl and go win it. And then I have on the AFC side, I have the Jags, the Patriots. I have the Steelers on a last-ditch effort to try to get in. And, you know, it'd be really interesting if the Houston Texans actually made a run.
You haven't thought this through, Dan.
Yeah.
You haven't thought this through.
Not 100%, no, but I'm just thinking about how, you know, we picked and who we had winning divisions, and, you know, the Jags, the Patriots, the Steelers, and maybe the Houston Texans. That doesn't sound awfully out of the realm of possibility. I think that all of those teams could have a potential to run.
So you got the Texans over the Chiefs?
Yeah, I can see that.
Possibly, yeah. It just depends on Pat Magic, man. If he's good, he comes out there. Even if he's average, he comes out there and he plays well.
Okay.
You know, you have something for the future, but
so Texans would be the second team coming out of that division behind Jacksonville, or would they win the division?
What did I pick? I think I had Houston winning the division, and then I had Jacksonville being the second team. So that would be Jacksonville coming out as a wild card, potentially beating who they were playing. Houston probably is not going to get a bye.
Yeah.
I don't think Houston's
man. Go and put Cleveland Browns up there, man.
Hell no.
Damn, no. Come on, man.
It ain't time.
On paper,
I did say on my chat, though.
On paper, they look good on paper, though.
I did say on my show that I wouldn't be surprised if the Cleveland Browns made it to 8-8 or 7-9. I would not be surprised if they were able to win some games they didn't think they should, or surprise some people in some spots. They have a team. They just need to put it together.
They win Coach of the Year.
8-8, they would win Coach of the Year, and they probably would also have like Rookie of the Year too, just because it's like, wow, look at those guys.
Law, do you have any final thoughts or predictions for the playoffs before we wrap up this 2-hour ass show?
Hey, man, y'all make sure y'all subscribe to Lieutenant Dan so he can stay on this thing. But neither here nor there. The Cowboys, I don't want to jinx what you just said, so I'm just going to copy and paste what you just said. Cowboys with Ezekiel Elliott winning the MVP, Super Bowl MVP, and then also winning the league MVP, because he's going to come back for vengeance. His minds, just like the guy said, when the path of the righteous man is beset on all sides by the iniquities of the selfish and the tyranny of evil men. But blessed is he that is in the name of charity and goodwill shepherds the weak. through the valley of darkness, for he is truly thy brother's keeper and founder of lost souls. And I will strike down upon thee with great vengeance those attempting to poison and destroy thy brethren Ezekiel Elliott. And you will know thy name is Lord when Ezekiel Elliott put 2,000 yards on the season this year. Baby, Cowboys going all the way, baby.
I'm not religious. So I'm just gonna say this.
I hope the football
God strike you down with every referee call that you ever had just for trying to rant off that rant.
hey, Law. What he say? What he said? Jimmy had to say, "I'm a mushroom cloud laying motherfucker."
Yeah.
I like what one of my favorite wrestlers just said just a little while ago. He said, "Look, man, we don't have to win it clean. I'm just gonna roll a motherfucker up. That's all I'm gonna do. I'm just gonna roll the motherfucker up."
We got 2 quick
Shout out
callers.
to Smith fan, man, for making a donation to help grow the nation, man. He said,
Salute.
Law, got that bad mother sucker. I don't know if we can curse on this network. Wallet, yes, indeed.
We're doing it.
You said
We're doing it live.
You said fuck you want on this goddamn show. We got 2 callers.
Oh, it's unfiltered.
Ooh, this was special right here. This was special. Law. I don't know about your show. What's up? Dan,
I gotta go.
Dan,
I gotta go.
Dan,
I gotta go.
Dan, you need to be here for this one. Dan, you need to be here for this one. You need to be here for this one. Law, this is my favorite call. I don't know what you do on your show, but this is my favorite caller.
Oh no, this is
Carolina
Pimp.
Carolina Pimp.
No.
Carolina Pimp.
What's going on, Carolina Pimp?
Oh, baby.
What's going on, my man?
What's up, big baby?
What is big dog? How's your mama now?
Holding it down for the Doski, Woski, and the Peasky, Weasky, style of profile, and champagne and campaigning for the Doski, Woski, you heard? Tell us about them Falcons, Carolina Pimp.
Can I just say something real quick? Carolina Pimp is the coolest caller you have.
Man, the coolest name on YouTube.
Because September 9th, you get to see the best motherfucking middle linebacker in the NFL, number 59. I don't even need to say his name because they already know who it is. Beat the shit out of the Dallas Cowboys.
Carolina Pimp.
And man, but don't even talk about Sean, dude. Stiff Breeze put Sean Lee on injured reserve for the rest of the year, big dog. And you know I'm spitting the truth, dude. And then September 16th, we dirt stomped the worst team in the NFL, the Atlanta Falcons, because that's a bullshit football team, big baby. Shout out to the C3 Carolina Panthers podcast every Tuesday night at 9. Peace and love, big baby. We out here.
Before I hang up on you, I just want to let you know that you are in Wakanda now, and the Panthers will have nothing but dust and blood. Hung up on your ass, boy. Hung up on your ass, boy.
I'll say this much. As a Falcons fan to a Carolina Panthers fan, and as one of the most energetic and just coolest callers that I know that calls up Voch, I respect you, man. I respect you even though you're a Carolina fan and you hate the Falcons. I respect that.
I'm trying to unmute. Go ahead, Law.
I've been hating the Carolina Panthers ever since they got my guy, Jake Delhomes from our practice squad, and they beat us in that we was going to the playoff, I think, that year.
Yeah.
Yeah. And they made it all the way to the Super Bowl. And then they lost to the doggone Patriots. Come on, man.
Cardinal fan won't let me unblock him, so I guess unmute him. So I guess we'll just wrap this thing up then. Law Nation, tell the folks where you can find them at. Where they can find you at.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, rabbits and frogs, you guys can find me at Laws Nations. That is on Facebook. That is on Twitter. That is on MySpace, Black Planet, Twitch. That's everywhere you can find PayPal, Patreon. Go and find that page, Laws Nation. And then also on Law Nations, that's YouTube. All you got to do is type in LAWNATION. That's Nation. And remember, you guys are listening to nothing but the best. Salute. I'm out.
His man radio voice is immaculate, dog. Yeah, wait, time out. Law, say this, Law. You are in Wakanda now. The Panthers will have nothing but dust and blood. Say that.
You are in Wakanda now, and the Panthers will have nothing but dust and blood.
Sound better coming from you, dog. and right, Dan. And then tell the people where they can find you at, dog.
What's going on, guys? It's your boy Lieutenant Dan here. Lieutenant Dan, you don't have any legs. I do have legs, and you guys are supporting me, and I thank you so much for supporting me on my channel. You can find me Unintentional Grounding on YouTube. You can also find me at UNGR_show on Twitter and Instagram. You're listening to nothing but the facts and the truth. Rise up and stay grounded.
Goodbye.
Go get a shirt, man.
And I'm
Go get a shirt.
Where I go get that shirt from, man?
You can find that at streamlabs.com/unintentional grounding merch.
And I'm
certainly.
And I'm
They're comfy. Dude, they're so comfy, man. They're so comfy.
And y'all do me a favor, man. Leave a like on this video. Likes are very important. If you're watching this on demand, leave a comment and tell us what you think about our division and playoff selections or whatnot. Follow me on Twitter. Everything is Voch Lombardi. VOCHLOMBARDI. Subscribe. And the Patreon is more important than food, water, and threesomes. All right, y'all hold it down for the Doski Woski and the Peasky Whiskey. All right, salute.
Smash that like button, baby.